We have a kind of more central storyline which comes out of the crisis in Syria, but there are several other families we see around the way, both kind of historical and from the current crisis, just to show different aspects of people being displaced.
Cheryl, tell us a little bit more about your character and the journey she goes on.
Yeah, so I was very drawn to this story about Doa. It's actually inspired by true events, unfortunately. And it's about a 19-year-old Syrian refugee who flees her home through terror and goes on a boat. It's actually a TED talk that you can find out about it online. And there was 500 people on the boat, and unfortunately only 11 of them survived. And she's one of them, and it's the story of her trying to get to a safe land. And we've worked with a lot of charities on the way while developing this piece, and a lot of people say exactly the same thing. If people knew the human behind the headline they hear about, they would have, and our audience have been amazingly compassionate and kind, but we wanted to share these stories and go, look at the human, and you kind of would then want to welcome them with open arms rather than say, you're other to us.
Yeah, sadly, Doa's story is not rare, is it, in this world? It's something that lots of people will have gone through. Mariam, give us a sense of how the play folds out in terms of the methods you use. There's a lot of physical theatre involved, there's music, but also the audience are heavily involved.
Yes, well, we started with very, very open mind, you know. We didn't have any plan of how it's going to turn out. We had this topic and we started working on it. And we used our own experiences to build something. So we did research music, we brought music, we did physical actions. And through these physical actions, we found for ourselves understanding of the situation. And with all of this music, physical actions, and some of the texts that we used, we formed these stories, improvising. And yes, the audience are heavily involved, I can say mostly emotionally. We're together, we're very, very close to them. We don't interact with them as much. Well, this is something you have to see. But we have tried something that I think I should not talk about it so much.
Yeah, I won't push you on this. We won't go there, but I know there is a moment, isn't there, certainly? Charlotte, in terms of what you've gained from the audience's reactions so far, have you seen the connection that when they leave, they are perhaps going to think about this story in a different way, or certainly what's going on in other countries?
Absolutely. I think, as Cheryl said, it's obviously it's kind of a crisis that we've been bombarded with on the news. And it's really easy to become desensitised to it. Most of the audience reaction we've had has been, that they've had a really strong emotional connection with it. We've had people come and talk to us in the bar afterwards and really want to explore it more and their relationship with it. A lot of people have said to me, that could have been me and my daughter, or that could have been, my neighbour. And that's what we're trying to get people to see, that there really is no divide. It could be us, just as much as it could be them.
Indeed, Cheryl, I know that you had a little phrase that you mentioned that people have used to describe how they felt. Tell us that.
Yeah, so basically we have a lot of storyline through the piece, but there's also a lot of song. And one of the audience said to me it was like being immersed in a warm hug while we were singing, and they needed that moment just to kind of collate their thoughts and emotions about what they'd seen on stage. And I thought that was a beautiful way of articulating what we can do.
Mariam, I know that you've all been with this as a journey from the start to the finish. How does it feel to kind of be taking it back to the Arcola, where it started off in a lab?
Yeah, it feels like going back home because it's very familiar for us. We have like an emotional connection with the place, and it's really great.